Hi, this is how honeybees process waggle dance vibrations using auditory signal compression by Anishka Andy. So, just some background, the species overview is Apis mellifera, commonly known as the European honeybee, is a eusocial insect vital for pollination and ecosystem health. The colony structure consists of a single queen, worker bees, and drones, and the role in the ecosystem is that it is essential for pollination of many crops and wild plants. So, just some more background on the sensory systems for communication. These bees use multimodal perception, which is when they use sight, smell, touch, and vibration. They also have a Johnston's organ, which is located in the antenna's pedicel, and it is the key for detecting airborne vibrations like wing beat sounds. They also have substrate vibration, which is detected through their legs using subgenual organs. And the focus of the study we're looking into today examines the auditory vibration via the Johnston's organ during waggle dances. So, just some background on the waggle dance. The purpose is that honeybees perform the waggle dance to communicate the direction and distance of food sources to nestmates. The dance involves a figure-8 movement with a waggle run that encodes distance and direction. The significance is that it is crucial for efficient foraging and colony success. So, the bee auditory system, the bee has sensory structures like the Johnston's organ, which that detects vibrations in the antenna. And this is a diagram of, or this is a picture of the bee's leg with the pedicel that we mentioned before included in the flagellum and the scapi. And the auditory system also involves a signal type, which has wing beats during waggle dances generate sound vibrations around 265 hertz. And here's a diagram with figure C showing the 265 hertz vibrations and how that relates to the flagellum displacement. And both of these figures actually come from the main article that we're looking into today. So the research question is, how does the honeybee auditory system process and adapt to the specific vibrational frequencies produced during the waggle dance? The methodology used in the study done by Tizuchi is electrophysiological analysis of Johnston's organ sensitivity to waggle-related vibrations. And the citation is provided below. So, the experimental design of the study is the subjects, which are the worker honeybees under controlled lab conditions, the stimuli, which are artificial vibrations replicating waggle dance frequencies, and again, the tools, which are the electrophysiological recordings to measure antennal nerve responses. The data collection methods are a signal playback, which are artificially produced 265 hertz vibrations, recording response, which is the measurement of action potentials in the antennal nerves, and behavioral relevance, which is linked to the auditory sensitivity to natural waggle dance communication. So, the key findings of this study. This actually is the more specified like image of the vibrations and frequency that were measured in this study. But the first image that we actually looked into, this was a much more in-depth image that encompassed a lot more of the frequencies that were tested. The reason that I didn't put this towards the end is because this isn't really what we're looking into. The study looks a lot more into a broad spectrum of things, while we're just focusing on a specified research question. But I still wanted to include it because it had some interesting information. But now going back to this one, the key findings of the study are high frequency sensitivity and there's a strong response to the 265 hertz, which is the primary frequency of wing beat sounds. And there's also dynamic range compression, where bees maintain consistent perception across a wide range of signal intensities. And we'll look into what each of these mean in just a second. So frequency sensitivity, again, the peak sensitivity is 265 hertz, which matches the natural waggle wing beat sounds. And it also shows that neural activity is diminished at lower and higher frequencies. And bees are biologically tuned to detect the most behaviorally relevant vibrational signals. And again, with dynamic range compression, bees maintain nearly constant sensitivity across a range of intensities. And this helps prevent signal distortion in loud environments like the hive. It also ensures that followers can decode dance signals regardless of the dance from dancer. Sorry, the distance from dancer. The interpretation of these results is that dynamic range compression in honeybee auditory system benefits that the bees by enabling them to find waggle dance vibrations regardless of background noise or variations in distance communication. This auditory adaptation provides reliable signals such that follower bees can read waggle dance information from a dancing bee even if they are far from the dancer. And this result, this figure is created by me, but it's used by the data is all from the Tizuchi study. I just thought this was an easier way to look at it. The visuals were helpful to me, but I thought that seeing things in graphs would be a more helpful way. And maybe like in future studies, I feel like they might benefit from using a simple graph model because I feel like I understood much more easier looking at this. But here it shows the frequency to the 265 hertz or the sensitivity to the 265 hertz, which is why it's at a peak. And this is relevant to waggle dance communication because we now know that auditory systems maintain its consistency by utilizing signal decoding, helpful to follower bees as they rely on wing beat sounds in close range and enhances the overall coordination of info foraging. And again, this is kind of a repetition, but the summary of the findings is again, they're most sensitive to 265 hertz, which is the core waggle wing beat frequency. Their auditory system compresses signal intensity for consistent perception, and these adaptations help ensure reliable in-hive communication for foraging coordination. The significance of a study is that it enhances understanding of how bees maintain accurate communication in complex environment, and it also highlights the sophistication of the insect sensory systems. And further, it opens avenues for both ecological conservation and technological innovation. Finally, some limitations of the study is that the lab conditions may not fully replicate hive acoustics. The focus on wing beat, the substrate vibrations are not included in the study, and the need for behavioral link, neural data needs integration with real behavioral outcomes. And I know we mentioned substrate vibrations at the beginning, but I just wanted to give a definition of that because that's something I noticed that wasn't fully integrated into the study, but they still kind of touched on it. So I wanted to mention that and further implications. So, in colony foraging, which we mentioned before is extremely important for bees, the precision really matters. So, what this means is the precision of waggle dance communications is vital for the foraging success of the colony, and an accurate transmission of distance or direction could result in wasted energy and lower recruitment potential. With a dependable honeybee auditory system, follower bees can interpret vibrational signals easily and accurately, resulting in a successful recruitment towards wealthy food resources. In general, the auditory system is able to bolster accurate signal detection and rates of definition, ultimately fostering better foraging and improved efficiency for the use of colonies' foraging labor force. And for agricultural relevance, the pollination efficiency is affected by honeybee communication in agricultural systems and how those foragers are effectively recruited using the vibrational signals of waggle dances to long stem flowers with abundant resources. If bees can more accurately assess these vibrational signals, they are more likely to conduct regularized and reliable visits to crops and delivery of consistent pollination services. Therefore, the importance of pollinator sensory health to manage pollination outcomes as this has ramifications for crop production and consequently food security. And this was actually my original study topic that I wanted to look into because I was very curious on how um, beekeeping is affected in areas that may not have been as populated before, but are suddenly becoming more populated. So I wanted to see how traffic noise affects bees, but there wasn't enough study on this. So I wanted to include this at the end as a potential future research where we can investigate if low frequency human made noises mask waggle dance communication. And the question could be, could environmental noise and interfere with the system? The possible impacts of this are decreased recruitment and impaired foraging coordination. And the impact of natural hive noise is buzzes, footfalls, and multiple dancers, and how dynamic range compression may buffer interference. And here's my works cited. Thank you so much.